لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى الطيبين الطاهرين. I hope you can hear me at the back. I'm going to try and speak louder, inshallah. Yeah, you might have to. I won't take too much of your time, but there is an interesting incident that took place not too long ago related to the fadila of going for the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam that I thought I should share, and inshallah we will all benefit from that. A couple of years ago, I was visiting Zanzibar for the first time. Many of you are from Zanzibar or have origins from Zanzibar, so you might know of the place. And they have many of these old mahfils there. And in one of these mahfils, as per my habits, I was looking at the walls, at the old paintings, pictures. I found a painting, a photograph of a very old piece of poetry. There were just 4 lines. Actually, there was a picture of the Dari of Hussein alayhi salam, a very old one, and around it there were 4 lines written that were very, very beautiful. It said, إِذَا شَأْتَ النَّجَاةِ فَزُرْ حُسَيْنَ. If you want salvation, then visit Hussein. لِكَيْ تَلْقَ الْإِلَهَ قَرِيرَ عَيْنَ. So that we may meet your Lord on the day of judgment with that which will delight your eyes. فَإِنَّ النَّارَ لَن تَمَسَّ جِسْمًا عَلَيْهِ غُبَارُ زُوَارِ الْحُسَيْنَ. For the fire of hell will never touch a body that has been touched by the dust of the pilgrim of Hussein. So these words I thought were very beautiful, and I began looking for the poet. And I went back to Canada. I started searching for the poet, and alhamdulillah I was able to find the history of this poem and who said it and when, and that's the incident I wish to share with you very quickly. If you can recite a salawat ala A few hundred years ago, there lived a great Shia Sheikh who was known as Sheikh Al-Hilli. But this is not the same Sheikh Al-Hilli, Allama Hilli, who is buried in the Haram of Imam Ali alayhi salam in Najaf. This is another Hilli because he came from Hilla. And if you look at the map of Iraq, you will see that Karbala is south of Baghdad, and Hilla is somewhere close to Karbala. But between Baghdad and Karbala, there is another city called Musayyib, where the sons of Hazrat Muslim, Tiflani Muslim, are buried. And north of Baghdad there is a city called Mosul. There lived this Sheikh Al-Hilli. His father at one time was the governor of Mosul. But his father and his mother were Nasibis, meaning they were very strong in their hatred for the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. But they didn't have any children. So his mother had made another, that if Allah gives me a son, I will teach him to kill the Zawar of Hussein. I will train him to hate Hussein. This was her mother, because they were Nasibis. Sure enough, Allah gave her a son. And from his childhood, the mother and the father taught him nothing but the hatred of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. When he became a young man, this is something that he himself narrates and has been documented in our books. When he became a young, strong man, his mother said to him, "You must now fulfill the pledge that I made. You must go and kill some of the Zawar of Hussein so that I have fulfilled my nazar." And so he set out with this intention, and he came down from Mosul, down Baghdad. And in those days, people who went for the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah from Syria, they passed through a bridge at Musayyib. So he decided the best place to kill them would be at this bridge at Musayyib. And he says himself, he came to this bridge at Musayyib, and as he was approaching it, he saw a qafila of Hussein, a qafila of Zawar. And this qafila was actually finishing their ziyarat. They were going back to Syria. And this Sheikh Al-Hilli says, I tried to catch up with them so that I could ambush them and kill some of them. But by the time I got there, they had crossed the bridge. And it was too late for me to catch them. And the only thing left facing me was the dust from that caravan. The ghubar from that caravan was what fell upon me. He then began sitting and contemplating whether to wait for another caravan or to go back. And he says, I fell asleep at that point. And this is where I need your attention. He says he fell asleep. He had a dream. And in that dream, he said it was the day of judgment. And he was taken to account for his hatred for Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the Ahlul Bayt. And a judgment was passed against him that he should be flung into the fire of hell. He says when the angels grabbed hold of him, they took him and dragged him to the pit of hell. And as they were about to throw him into the fire of hell, he says, in my dream, the flames receded and went back. And said, we cannot touch him. So now, he says in his dream, the angels say to the fire of hell, Khuduhu, grab hold of him, take him into the fire of hell. And the fire of hell says, we cannot touch him because on him is the dust of the Zawar of Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now he continues. He says, in my dream, the angels pulled me out. They washed me. They removed all the dust from the Zawar of Hussein. And they threw me back in. And again the fire would not touch me. He says, this time the angels asked the fire, they said, why do you not grab him? We have cleaned him from the dust of the pilgrims of Hussein. They said, some of the dust has entered his heart. So we can now not touch him at all. And when he woke up, he was so moved by this. He realized the truth of this. That he changed in an instant. All that his mother had trained was lost in a second, and he became a true muhib. And he decided then to go to Hilla and study religion and became a great sheikh amongst our ulama. But he said, before that I must go for the ziyarah of Hussein. And when he went for the ziyarah of Imam Hussein, it is at the haram of Imam Hussein that he composed those 4 lines that have become eternal. إذا شئت النجاة فزر حسين. If you want najat, if you want salvation, then visit Hussein. لكي تلقى الإله قرير عينا. So that you may meet your Lord with that which will delight your eyes. فإن النار لن تمس جسما. For the fire of hell will never touch a body. عليه غبار زوار الحسين. That has been touched by the dust of the pilgrim of Hussein. So I just wish to share this with you, but I should also share that while this means your status is elevated, we have in riwayat that there is a daraja in Jannah that one can never enter unless they have gone for the ziyarat of Hussein. In other words, someone else who is like you on the day of judgment, they may have prayed as much as you have, they may have given the same sadaqah as you may have, they may have the same level of taqwa as you have, but if they have not gone for the ziyarat of Hussein, there is a level in Jannah that they can never reach that you reach by having gone for the ziyarah. So that is the status of the zawar. That's why you are told when someone comes back from the ziyarat of Hussein, before their lives become normal again to what they used to live before, where they used to commit sins, where they used to do the things they did on a daily basis, go to them as soon as they come back home. Ask them to do istighfar for you. Kiss their hands. Touch their eyes because those eyes have seen the dhari of Hussein. Touch their lips because those lips have kissed the dhari of Hussein. And kiss them then because of their status and martaba. But this should not make us proud to think that now we have become something because of our status as Za'irin. We should never entertain this thought that we have cried for Hussein. Instead, we should think we have not cried enough. Because who are we to cry for Hussein when the Malaika cry for him? Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salam says in Ziyarat al-Nahiya, Assalamu alayka ya man bakat alayhi malaikatu